What's going on, everybody? Mr. Pummel here. We are back in the gym, and today we're talking all about tennis. Hopefully you got a little bit from our earlier discussion today. Basically, tennis is a sport, a net wall game where you are hitting a ball over a net into an opponent's court. You're trying to either hit a winner, something they are not able to return over the net, or survive long enough to the other team or opponent makes an error. Okay? Today's lesson, though, what we're learning is all about the forehand shot. So again, by the end of the lesson, you should be able to tell me the 4 parts of the swing, and I'm going to give you a couple of drills and things you can do at home to get a little bit better at this sport. So before we even begin, the first thing that you need is to know about the equipment that you need for tennis. Tennis primarily has 3 pieces of equipment in order to play the sport. You need a racket, a ball, tennis ball, and a net. If you're at home, you can use a variety of things. If you have any kind of racket, say badminton, a pickleball, a paddle, ping pong, that will suffice for this unit. You can still learn the stroke and the swing for forehand, but if not, I've included a video. You can watch at the tail end how to make a tennis racket. You can use anything from a ruler and a paper plate to a bunch of things around the house, but you're going to want to find something that has a face to it and something that has a grip that you can hold on to, and again, is a horizontal piece like this. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is how to hold the racket. Easiest way to do this is just set that racket right on the ground. You're going to walk up to it, bend over to pick the racket up, and that right there is a good forehand grip, okay? So it's not as confusing as, say, our golf unit, where we went through and talked about interlocking grips, baseball grips, all of that. Again, simply set that racket on the ground. If you're using a pot or a pan, you just set that on the ground with the flat side on the bottom. You'll walk up, pick it up, and now you have a good forehand grip. Now, for the forehand, there are 4 different parts that we're going to talk about. The first one is prepare. So the first one is to prepare to hit the ball. What you're going to do, obviously we already have a grip. That's not really what we're talking about. We're talking about preparing the swing to be able to hit that forehand. And so what we're going to do to prepare is we are going to point our opposite shoulder. So if I'm right-handed, I'm holding this racket in my right hand. My opposite shoulder is going to be at the target. So whatever hand you are not hitting with, point that where you want the ball to go. When you hit this ball, just like in golf, the ball is going to be right in front of me, okay? I don't want it in the middle. I want it a little bit out in front, so I go and reach and hit that ball. But again, I am parallel, meaning side by side, with this ball, okay? So the first one is to prepare. Point your opposite shoulder at the target, be parallel to the ball. The second part that we're going to talk about is actually turning to make this swing, okay? And in tennis, when I'm making a forehand swing, to hit the ball, I'm going to take the racket back. Now, when I go to hit, I am turning my body back, and then I start to swing forward. My racket goes low to high. And so one way I can practice this is by just setting the ball on the ground, taking this racket, and just pushing it and making my finish over my shoulder. So again, I keep the ball on the ground, I push it forward and finish high. If I'm pointing to the camera, here's what it looks like. Ball's on the ground, I push it forward and finish high. You see my swing is going low to high. So first part is to prepare, get side by side to the ball. Second part is the swing. I'm taking it back and I'm swinging low to high. And again, I can practice this. You can do about 10 of these just against the wall. There's 1, stop the ball. There's 2, stop the ball. The third thing that I'm going to do after I swing is my contact, or where I actually hit the ball. And this is one of the most important things, especially people who are just starting off. It's very tough to get the racket angle, okay? This racket, or whatever I'm hitting the ball with, whatever angle that faces when I hit it, that's where the ball is going to go. If this is pointed straight up and down, when the ball hits it, that ball is going straight up. If the racket is pointed slightly down, when the ball hits it, it's going down. So you really have to be careful and find what angle is best, that when I hit that ball, it goes up and over the net, which is the objective of tennis. Which is why in the swing portion, we want to hit low to high, so that when I hit that ball, I'm hitting it up and out to where I want it to go. Now, if I go way too high, it's going to go in the air and not go over the net. It's going to lob way too much. And again, if I go too low, it's going to hit into the net. So there's a fine balance, which is why it's important to kind of practice this. So one thing that you can do to practice is you can find a wall or a spot in your house, and you can just drop the ball out in front of you. We're still practicing, we're prepared, because again, I'm sideways or parallel to the ball, I'm swinging it back, and I'm just gonna work on the contact. I'm gonna find a spot that I wanna hit the ball over. So for me in the gym, I'm picking maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm taking the 6th brick, I wanna hit that ball over it. So I drop, and I'm finding that one was a little low, so I need to make my racket go a little bit higher. That was good. I dropped the ball, a little bit higher. And again, I'm just getting a feel for, 1, taking the swing, but 2, contacting the ball with the right racket angle. So that's step number 3, is the contact racket angle. The 4th part, the last part, is the follow through or the finish. When I hit this forehand, I want to finish that shot, and that racket will come over my opposite shoulder. So again, to start the hit, I prepare, my shoulder is pointed at you, my target. The second thing is my swing. I turn back and I'm swinging forward, low to high. The third thing is my contact. I want to have a good racket angle, so when I hit this, the ball goes up and over the net. And the fourth thing is the finish. I want to finish the shot over my shoulder. So when I drop the ball and do all 4, I'm prepared, I turn, I swing, contact, and finish over my shoulder. And that right there is the forehand shot. So now that you've learned the 4 parts to the forehand shot, again, prepare, swing, contact, follow through. You can work on some stuff at home to get comfortable swinging a tennis racket. So the first thing, like I talked about before, is how to pick up that racket. Again, if you're using a pot or a pan or a different kind of paddle or racket, that's completely fine. But either way, you'll set it down with the face laying on the ground, and you'll just pick up that racket to have a nice, solid handshake grip. Now, to get familiar with this, if you have a tennis ball, this is a great thing to do, just working on some hand-eye coordination and hitting the ball in the middle of the racket to work on your contact, is just to bounce the ball a couple inches high off the racket right in place, okay? What this will do is it'll get you acclimated to holding the racket correctly, and again, finding a good contact area for the ball. You can do this going up and down, or if you have a hard surface, you can practice bouncing this ball on the ground. You can do it stationary, or you can walk and do it as well. The next thing is, and we saw this a little bit in the first video, is to work on hitting a shot low to high, is just to set this ball on the ground. And you can do this just for about 30 seconds to a minute, and all you're working on is, again, preparing to hit the shot. I'm parallel to the ball. It's forward, so the ball is towards my front foot. Again, I start with the racket on the ground, and I push and finish high. Push and finish high. This is building some muscle memory in my head to find the ball in front of me, start low, and finish high. After about 30 seconds to a minute, you can then work on working on your contact. Okay? What you can do on this one is just find a hard surface to hit up to, and all I'm going to do is bounce the ball against that surface. Okay, if you can't start and do a bunch in a row like that, you can work on just one at a time. So bounce and hit, and then catch the ball. Bounce and hit, catch the ball. And all I'm doing is I'm working on that contact area. I've got a good grip, I'm prepared, I'm swinging low to high, and I'm just working on the contact. Once you get comfortable with that, now you can go and try to do many in a row. Just working on good racket angle and good contact. Once you get comfortable with that, now you can start to incorporate how the swing really works. When you're playing tennis, that ball is going to be hit over the net at you. You can let it bounce one time and then hit your shot. So now we're going to try to work on that. So what you're going to do is you're going to bounce the ball in front, swing, and now I can work on my follow through and again catch the ball as it comes back. Bounce, swing, let the ball come back. Bounce, swing, follow through, let it come back. You see I'm prepared to hit it. I'm working on my swing, my contact, and my follow through. And this is just called an underhand serve. Working all 4 pieces of the swing. And I can work on this now for either duration of time, 1 minute, or I can go, I'm doing 20 that hit against the wall. But again, I'm just getting acclimated to hitting this ball with those 4 pieces. So hopefully you can take a racket or a pot or a pan and a ball and you can work on some of these things. Get a good grip, make sure you're prepared, make sure you're taking the correct swing, good contact, follow through, and get some practice at home. We'll see you next time for some more work in tennis.